Of what she claimed to be, it was a completely unsubstantiated claim that had never been put to me in the trial, that I was somehow involved in mis and disinformation, and that my memory is not clear. Did she say, conspiracy theorist, it was as good as somebody involved in anti-vaccine? That was no part of the trial at all. None of that was put to me or to anybody in evidence. It was a completely irrelevant statement from a judge who is meant to be of the highest impartiality, the greatest integrity in our society, completely down the middle, showing a severe bias. And I think that that is something that all New Zealanders should be really worried about. If that gives New Zealanders a sense that our courts are no longer holding up impartiality, then it's a very small step to looking at the claims of lawfare, which we have seen overseas. And what is lawfare? Lawfare is when the law is used to attack somebody perceived as a political opponent of the reigning government. And I mean reigning, as in tyrants.
Do you intend to appeal?
I'm thinking about it. I have 20 days to think about it, but I was really concerned about that.
Judge Forrest said you didn't express any remorse. Is that correct? Do you have any remorse for what happened?
The whole crux of the case, I found that statement really odd as well. The crux of the case was that I was saying I did not assault somebody. Now, I will just elaborate on that. Her whole last judgment had a very severe bias about how apparently rude or aggressive I was. I was talking like this. I'm trained as a lawyer. I was calm but very firm.
You did mention Nazi
I'll just finish this. I'll just finish this. I was very calm but firm, but saying, what have we done? And at no stage was I told by her or by Anna Koraleski, I think her name is, or Constable Postlethwaite, at no stage was I told what we had done, what law we had transgressed, what law we were breaking. Now, a police officer, as I was saying to you, must de-escalate, and within 3 seconds I was on the ground. So as far as all of those claims that she made, again, there was that subjective element to it that you saw come through when she said misinformation, disinformation.
Just getting back to Anna, she said that she had an arm injury and the level of pain that you inflicted was a 5 out of 10. Do you have any regrets about that?
I have regret that a lie like that was allowed to stand. If you look at the slow-mo version, and I can send it to you, I can send you when we slow-moed it right down, somebody with 5 out of 10, and remember I had 10 out of 10 from what the police officer said.
This woman was just doing a job.
Can I just finish?
She says you're the worst person she dealt with in 20 years.
Well, people can say things. You guys say things all the
what's
time.
Her motivation? What's her motivation then for lying? If she's lying about all this, to go through this process, to go onto the stand, to be exposed in the media, to be named. What is her motivation for lying? Why would she say this? She says that you inflicted a pain on her. Why would she lie about that?
Do you think sometimes people make lies and then they double down on the lie? Have you ever known politicians do that?
But you're saying this woman's lying. What's her motivation? There's nothing in it for her financially. There's all the personal costs.
I'll just deal with your question. If it was a 5 out of 10 pain, she would have flinched away from me. She looked down. It was like this. Get away. Get away. There was no pain registered in her face. When she said that in the court, the whole court erupted because it's clear from the footage.
But it was all your supporters.
You're trained as a journalist to look at the footage. They were simply looking at the footage. It was not a 5 out of 10 injury. And that's really concerning. Now, it was also concerning there was the third officer, Constable Martin, who came up to us outside and quietly said to me when we were waiting, I can make this go away, Liz, if you will just admit you've done something wrong. And I said to Constable Martin that night, you know that we haven't done anything wrong. You know that. And let the cards fall where they lay. But what that was presupposed on was we live in a country with a real system of justice, not with a biased system where lawfare is used to silence the critics of the prevailing government. I can't say more than that.
Are we talking to Liz Gunn, the former leader of the New Zealand Loyal Party?
You're just talking to Liz Gunn, who's just been in court.
Liz, were you surprised by the way the judge went by deciding to, deny that you're discharged without conviction?
Very.
Are you the former leader?
It's not relevant to this case.
Are you the former leader?
Hey, Liz, are you,
Stop antagonising you.
I forgot my question, sorry.
No, these are good journalist questions. These are not just trying to antagonise.
What about
These are-
the
these
press
are
release?
ethical.
What about the press release New Zealand Loyal issued earlier this month, like November 8th, saying that you'd tried to shut down the party but now had a new board? Do you have anything to say in response to that press release?
I will talk to you about what I'm here to talk about, which is the case I've just been
Are
through.
you planning on lodging a complaint with IPCA in regards to their police assault on you at the Auckland Airport?
There is a lot to be looked at with the police assault. It's nearly 2 years on. I'm still dealing with severe injury, but getting a lot of treatment on it. And I think it concerned me greatly in the case that a light touch to the arm with two, excuse me, please, trying to get someone's attention was the focus. And we had a judge who never even mentioned clear physical and rapid escalation and physical assault on me within 3 seconds. Within 5 seconds, Jonathan was swung, tackled, and his camera was broken. You two are journalists. You surely must think sometimes this is not good. I mean, your questions about her lying and then doubling down on lying, you know human nature surely as a journalist. That does happen. So I have to leave that for you to decide. We all have to decide who's telling the truth and who is lying here. But there is the possibility she doubled down on her lies in court. And there was a concerning moment where somebody saw her talking to both cops before the trial began. And that was my expert witness, who I could put you in touch with. He said that is most unusual. As a policeman, as a former policeman, he'd never seen that before, the witnesses talking before the trial. That was really worrying.
The last time we were here, there were dozens of supporters. Today, there's 5. Do you have any followers?
I really am not in this for followers or not. You just seem to be looking for something salacious. And
I'm interested in your standing with New Zealand Loyal.
Well, are we here for New Zealand Loyal for the trial?
Liz,
This is irrelevant.
what's next for you? There was some talk about how a conviction would, impede on your aspirations. Can you give us a taste of what you're planning on doing next?
Before COVID, I was working as a lawyer, helping with a really lucrative deal going through, and I enjoyed that side of law. I didn't want to go back into the courtroom, and even less so now after what I've seen in this trial. I had thought it would be a good thing to go back into the law and help people in different ways from behind the scenes. I am more than a little disillusioned with media, and I think my friend Mr. Bronius would be the star reason for that. Thank you for asking good questions. I look forward to your very salacious piece, Mr.
Very
Bronius.
happy to disillusion you.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thanks for your time, Liz.
I think Steve Bronius, for what I saw today, he's everything a journalist should not be. He is salacious, he's gossipy, he takes great delight in being, I would have said mischievous, but there's something much darker about that.
I hope you got that on film.
I didn't hear that. But it honestly, it's just not what journalism is about. He was just trying to catch me out. I'm not here about NZ Loyal. I kept this very quiet today, this appearance, because I've been under enormous strain on many, many fronts. My skin, I've got a very bad eczema up my arm at the moment because of the stress. There are other ways the stress is showing that I keep very private. But the cruelty and I would have said mischievous before, but actually Steve Bronius is malicious. And it would be good for journalism if he was if he was retired. He's an old man now, and he won't have a sterling life to look back on, that man. He simply wanted to wind me up. There was a nasty, in French it's méchant, very, very cruel, a very cruel little man. So it'll be interesting to see what rubbish he puts in the Herald, and I will make an appeal here to everybody. Please, could your one protest, if you don't like the fact that an innocent woman, for touching an arm, saying excuse me, has been found guilty in a very corrupt lawfare system, could you not buy the Herald? Could you just bypass it, please? Don't go on it. Cancel your online subscriptions. Cancel your home subscriptions. If we could make that a protest, if those two Herald reporters who are really just bullies and, gossip mongers and with no integrity, if their jobs were cancelled, as, MSNBC is about to be cancelled in America, we hope, that would be a better New Zealand that we would have. Ironically, Jonathan is behind the camera. The staff reporter was good.
Yeah.
She had a bit of integrity
Bit of
and she
humanity.
asked some proper journalist questions. The rest of it, I won't say too much about the judge, except that my feeling was she had very much made up her mind, and her whole modus operandi for this prolonged, tortuous summary was to massage whatever facts she could find into justifying an absolutely unjustifiable decision. I mean, she used words like, I grabbed the arm, or at all stages, and you can see it in slow-mo. I made it clear that I was only, I lightly touched like this. Excuse me. And she was trying to bully Jonathan, and all my good friends know that I'm very, very protective of my friends. And I was trying to say, what have we done wrong? I'm a lawyer, so tell me the law that we've broken. That was all I was trying to do. The rest of it was horrendous. I mean, the prosecutor trying to say that they'd provided the camera footage. To me, the camera footage would have shown, over my shoulder there was a camera. We never got that footage. The airport board should be ashamed of themselves. They employed Russell McVeigh, the most bellicose law firm potentially in New Zealand, to block us from being able to get the footage. They had no interest in justice being served. They would have had camera angles from all over that would have shown zero face flinching from the woman that I lightly touched. She did not suffer 5 out of 10 pain. That is for sure. And I would put my hand on the Bible and swear that. But it would have shown the full-on assault by the police. And that would have shown the New Zealand people that potentially this case, in which I had worked for months and months to get a family on Tokelau who had been locked down for not taking the jab. They were the only family on the main island of Tokelau who said no to the jab. They had been locked down for 14 months without habeas corpus, without any justification. And when we looked into that case for them, when they reached out to me, guess what we found? Jacinda Ardern's father was the administrator of Tokelau. So there was a link directly to the woman who was then the Prime Minister of New Zealand. That case embarrassed them enough, although they tried to bully the family and bully me, humiliate me. I think the Prime Minister of Tokelau made a statement wearing a very heavy gold chain, and they don't have gold in Tokelau. That's an aside, berating me for sticking up for this family after months and months and many interviews, and reaching out and asking a group of lawyers who would come on board so that we could actually take the case to the International Court at The Hague, sticking up for these people who'd been illegally locked down. Finally, they released them. They could get to Samoa. We had to raise funds to get them there. And that day, Jonathan and I were at the airport. We were welcoming the family home. We wanted good quality footage. We took Jonathan's best camera. This was all done for free. There was no commercial imperative. The only way the woman at the airport could have asked me or kicked me out of the airport for having a camera, which we all have at the airport, was if I was being paid by the likes of those people that we saw just now, by TV1 or TV3 or stuff. But I wasn't, and I explained it to her. She was highly aggressive, which the judge did not mention at all. Highly aggressive right from the get-go. Now, I talk like this. When someone's aggressive with me, I go into lawyer mode, and I'll talk firmly. A man will do that. Why should a woman who talks firmly and explains and asks for answers be derided as being nasty or mean or whatever the judge said about me in her very personalized judgment? These were all subjective statements from the judge. And today again we saw that. She had a very personal axe to grind, and those few people that I asked to come with me to court today, I didn't want anybody with me in court. It's been a very harsh journey this year. My friends, all of them separately, have said, wow, she had a real agenda. And I would have to ask that. And I have to ask if this is not lawfare in action. Now, here's the reason you should care. So much has been said about me that have been lies and distortions and untruths. For 4 years, I gave this country my heart. I did everything I could to save it from the Agenda 2030 and the WEF tyranny that is still being rolled out by Christopher Luxon. But here's what you have to ask, whether you care about me or not, whether you're appreciative of what I've done or not. I can go away and get on with my life, and others can pick up and be as brave as I've offered this country, the bravery and the courage and the love and the service that I offered. But you need to ask yourself, is this the country you want to leave your children, your grandchildren, and their children? Do you really want a country where this can happen? Do you really want this kind of lawfare where there is a judge, a Jacinda Ardern appointee, by the way, to the bench in the district court at Manukau? Do you really want a judge who will bring up at the very end of her judgment today a totally irrelevant fact that was not part of the trial at all, but showed an agenda, a clear agenda? And what she brought up was mis and disinformation and standing up against the mandates that were forced. Is this the sort of New Zealand you want? It's not the New Zealand I've fought for. It's not the New Zealand my father fought for. And perhaps we get back, Jonathan, to that poor little man, Steve Braunius, who'll write a horrible, cutting, nasty piece of twisted invective about me, no doubt. When I said to him, would you want this for your children? That they could lightly touch someone's arm and be done for assault. He said, yeah, I'm fine with that. So there's your good little fascist.
Well, all
follower.
I can say is the whole mainstream media right now are shedding staff like you wouldn't believe.
They are.
Yeah. The mainstream media is going out of fashion.
Look at America, and New Zealand will follow.
Once you've lied, you've lost the trust. And they lied heavily 4 years ago, 5 years ago, heavily. And they took a lot of money from those jabs through the advertising, a lot. And the government money, and now the piper's coming home for them. They're paying the piper, and many of them are out of a job, so they can learn to code.
We have to find the humour, and please help them get out of a job. Please, my final appeal is do not buy the Herald. Cancel your online subscription. Do not support the Herald in any way. They are appalling.
And sign up to the FreeNZ Substack.
FreeNZ Substack.
Yeah,
is
there's a little donation subscribe button too if you want to make a little monthly one too.
That would be a help.
Yeah.
And I'll be very careful picking and choosing the good people. I've interviewed people that I've realized subsequently are not people worthy of the positive things I've said about them. And now I'm really choosing the best of New Zealand and what we have to offer, and the best of the world in the media that I do.
Yeah. Many people have shown their colours this year, and now we're just shaking out the tree of a lot of deceit. And there's a few gems behind now, but a lot of people have shown their colours this year, Liz. Yeah.
A lot have.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that the NZ Loyal Party has been collapsed because it's sleeping now. And
hibernation.
If a leader of really high caliber, high intelligence, high integrity, high love and service to our country steps forward, then that name can be revived. But for now, it will not be given to people of the lowest caliber who lie, who dissemble, who are grifters, who bully for 6 months, who are incredibly nasty.
And they know who they are.
They will not take that name. It's a very special name, and there are a lot of people who want it. So it's good that for now it's in hibernation. Yeah. But if you feel you're that right person, I'm thinking of a man with the mana of an Andrew Bridgen in the UK, someone of that caliber who has the passion to do it, because it takes everything. It took everything I had to give. But you might want to lead in the next election. For now, NZ Loyal is, just know this, anybody trying to claim the name, they can start a party in their own names and do it transparently. They can't use NZ Loyal. They should not be taking your money. That would be illegal. They have to refund your money.
There's fraud going on.
That would be fraudulent. Yeah. And anything that's as nasty as it has been in the last 6 months is really just a replay of what we had with all the old politics.
And they have to go create their own database, Liz, and get their own names.
Yeah, if they steal data or they steal footage, it's still there.
All the
we'll leave them there.
Okay.
I said to that.